The centristic accelerationism. So you know how Kari Lake has still not given up? Kari Lake literally just will not disappear. She's now, after she lost the governor race, honestly by a pretty decent margin, she decided that she's going to be running for Senate in Arizona anyways. And so she's going to be running against Kristen Sinema and Gallo, is I think how you pronounce his name. I don't speak Spanish, so cut me a little bit of slack on that. But I think his name is Gallo. Anyways, and Kari Lake's going to be in there too on the Republican ticket. She's been going around, can you be both a governor and a senator? Well, she's neither, and probably will never be either. So it's not very applicable to her. Gallego. Okay. Gallego. There's an interview Kari Lake did, but I think it was by another conservative. Another conservative had to dunk on Kari Lake because she was being too dumb and they're like, it's like, stupid Kari, you make me look bad. Take a look at this.
I'm not okay with that. I want you to be able to talk whatever you guys say on the circus. I want to be able to have conservative students not being shamed on our universities.
This is like a golden age for conservative student speech. It's like, it's the best time ever. If you're a conservative student, you want to talk, you have huge platforms. I went to watch you speak at Turning Point USA. All these kids have huge audiences that come to see them, and that's great, that's fine. They're all speaking. They're not...
Yeah, it's crazy. It's almost like conservatives aren't being silenced because they won't shut up. They have all the money, they have all the clout, they have everything that they could ever ask for. They have sold out shows in like Texas and Florida and Ohio and New York and California, they in Tennessee, some in Kentucky as well. It's just like, there's so many places where conservatives can talk. It's never been a better time for you to be like a conservative child in America, where, I mean, we even said, I went to the Young America Foundation. They hosted a bunch of these conservative YouTubers to come talk here in Kentucky and Lexington. They do it as well at U of L, University of Louisville. Right? This happens constantly. There is no space where that has like left-wing kids be able to do this in the same way that these right-wing kids are, because they're funded by multi-billionaires with companies and also charities that are specifically for in my opinion, making the world worse through their conservative policies and politics. Just saying that, oh no, they're being shamed. Oh, boo-hoo? That's called free speech? I'm being shamed. Well, get over it. Aren't you supposed to be a politician? Your job is to be shamed. What do you mean? You're a talking head. Who cares if you're shamed? There's no right to not be shamed. Have you seen that? They go from we want the right to free speech, so we want the right to not only, and this is what I'm talking about. They don't care about free speech. Sorry, they don't want the right to free speech. They want the privilege for you to listen to them. They want to be listened to. They don't want you to like leave or not, or tell them that they shouldn't be speaking or making fun of them. They need not only the right to speak, but they also need the right for them to not be made fun of, not be clowned on, not be contradicted, not be yelled at, all of these things, because then you're being too mean to them.
Their speech isn't as a threat. There weren't any cops coming to shut down the Turning Point USA thing, but here's the thing. You say you care about the fentanyl crisis and our kids.
I care deeply.
Okay, right. So if you care so deeply about this, couldn't you actually do something about it if you stopped the bullshit about the last election? If you just acknowledged that Trump had lost and acknowledged
and
you
lost,
you'd probably be in good shape to do something. You probably would have won your governor's race had you just talked about things people cared about instead of the election fraud. So sometimes don't you ever think to yourself,
sorry,
instead of the election fraud?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's almost like people don't want you to sit on a fake story that and make excuses for why you lost, when the real reason is not that Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats overthrew your election by not allowing your voters to go to the polls, or using the ghost of Hugo Chavez and Xi Jinping with pandas putting together voting machines from Dominion and Smartmatic to overturn the election by flipping votes from Donald Trump to Joe Biden, or from Kari Lake to, what the heck is the governor's name now? Katie Hobbs. We love Katie Hobbs.
Sometimes don't you ever think to yourself, I wish I could just stop talking about this fake thing that Donald Trump made me make up so that I could actually talk about this stuff.
She's gonna get mad.
Because we agree about fentanyl. I agree. I wish we could deal with that.
I talked about that all the time at the campaign trail. I'm sorry you weren't with me. I'm sorry you weren't with me every step of the way. The people of Arizona understand me. And they
She's such a hater.
And they care about me, and I care about them.
Oh no, oh no, he's cooking her. Yeah, they know you all right. They knew you all right. They knew you a lot. They knew you good enough to not want you to be governor. And they know you good enough not to want you in as their senator either.
And I care about them. Getting them better free, and they know me, and they care about me, and I care about them. And I care about them. Getting them better, freeing the people who are held political prisoners. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. I think you are still a little extreme. That's okay though. It's good to see you again.
It's wonderful to see you. That's right. I'd love to.
We have some areas of agreement.
Love to.
We agree on the fentanyl thing, and then you get into the other stuff.
Also saying those are political prisoners. Just so you know, they're not political prisoners. The people being held, she's talking about the people being held for rioting at the Capitol on January 6th. Those people aren't political prisoners. Wait, let me see. I recently saw that the feds got a new guy. The feds got a new guy, actually. There was a new guy that they recently clipped the wings of. It was pretty interesting. One of the guys who was actually a January 6th ex-National Guardsman, he was wanted on January 6th charges for pepper spraying cops, and he was on a manhunt. He brought a pepper spray machine to be able to spray down cops in the eyes who were trying to stop people from rioting at January 6th and trying to get into the Capitol building. And he was like running from the cops. He was on the he was on the race, you know. He was doing the race, a 48-hour manhunt. Yeah, machine, dude. He bought the pepper spray machine. He was crazy.
We have an update on a story we first brought to you yesterday. A man wanted in connection with the January 6th insurrection has now turned himself into police. Police and SWAT team members had been searching for Gregory Yetman since Wednesday, scouring backyards in New Jersey for any sign of him. Those teams even set off flashbang grenades as part of the search. The FBI announcing the 47-year-old had been charged with assaulting and resisting officers, obstruction, and
see, look at this thing he brought. He brought the pepper. He brought a fucking super soaker full of bear mace to be able to spray at the feds. He brought the thingamajig. He brought the doohickey. It was at a contraption competition, and he wanted to win. It was insane, and he's just like just hosing down cops with bear mace. It's crazy. He was so close to bringing the thing that blew away fucking Shinzo Abe. It was remarkable. Yeah, these guys insane. He brought the pepper spray flamethrower, and then he was on the race from the feds as they were trying to clip his wings. He didn't want to go. Anyways, this guy who brought the contraption to fuck on literally federal cops trying to stop people from killing Nancy Pelosi for not swearing in Donald Trump as the God King Emperor of the United States forever is a political prisoner.
Oh, but the other stuff is what you have to do. I'm sorry, I'm not making you happy.
The other stuff is what you, I don't know why you're touching me. The other stuff is what you have to do.
Don't you touch me.
Is the thing.
I'm sorry, I'm a mom. I'm sorry, I'm a mom.
I love touching people. I'm a mom. What is that her? I'm sorry, I had to just like almost assault you real quick. I'm a mom. You know how moms are. They be touching random people. What the hell is that? I don't know why you're touching me. What a gang. Yeah, he's her prisoner now.
Okay, I like to touch too, but you know, in an interview setting,
you calm down.
I'm sorry that we don't agree on everything, but what I am not sorry about is that I think that I do believe that we can agree that we both love America.
We do. Well, I know that I love America. I do think that you were okay with Donald Trump trying to end the American experiment last time, so that makes me wonder how sincere your love is. But I do appreciate it.
Thank you for.
Yeah, it's almost like what she really cares about is her own political party winning and her making money off of that, and not really about loving America. I think that's it's all completely just a front to get you to give them more money. Never really loved America. It's not really about that. We talked about that we talked about that last stream. You can check that out. It's not loving America. It's about that being a front to be able to do whatever she wants because they hate the American experiment and they hate the foundational principles that America is built on. That's why they always try to overcome it whenever they can. I'm a mom is code for children being property. So yeah, she can do what she wants with them. Hippity hoppity, my children are property.
For your time.
Good, thank you for your time.
That man right there is Tim Miller, a lifelong Republican and nightmare fuel for people like Kari Lake. And if you're anything like me, you'll spend most of your day wondering what happened to all those normal people in the Republican Party who actually do value decency and honesty.
They never existed. But, you know, if you're a normie dem, it's good to be able to talk about.
And the truth is that they exist. There are people like Tim Miller who admittedly don't make up very much of the conservative base anymore, but who obviously didn't vanish from the face of the earth. And to that point, I actually interviewed Tim in January of this year and asked him about this exact phenomenon, about what conservatives like him do now that the party has left him.
What do you do? You know, you don't want to vote for well, here's what he actually does. If I'm going to be honest with you, he continues voting for like the Republicans who do all the things that he says that he doesn't like. That's the real thing, okay? That's what he actually does. He just continues doing what he did before, which is like pushing for conservative policies still, in my personal opinion. That's what he still does.
And here's what he had to say. With that said, you were a longtime Republican consultant. There are a small faction of you out there. Like, where do you fit into politics today? Because, you know, I hear a lot about these moderate Republicans, these Reagan Republicans, but that Republican Party doesn't actually exist in practice. So we're in a moment where, like, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is a 9/11 truther.
I also wouldn't say that you're like a Reagan Republican. Reagan wasn't a good person. Reagan didn't do good things for the country. Reagan actually is credited as bringing about like the downfall of a lot of American structures that helped the poor and working class in this country. Literally almost everything started going wrong once Reagan was able to get the reins of the country. Like, sure, I guess he like looks better and he didn't tweet like Donald Trump, but Reagan's a demon. Yeah. Moderate Republican. Reagan. Yeah. Normie lib moment.
Is sitting on the Homeland Security committee. Like, that's what the Republican Party looks like today. So yeah. I guess where do you fit into this?
Certainly don't fit in there. And I tried to fight within the party. We tried to recruit a primary against Trump in 2020 and didn't recruit any strong candidates. And after
there are none. There are no strong candidates against Donald Trump because the party is Trump. And you guys aren't too far away from each other either.
All the Stop the Steal stuff, I officially left the party in 2020 because it just felt hopeless. But we still are pretty important, right? We're not, with us former Republican types, swing voters, moderate types, we might not be enough to control either of the parties, obviously, that have moved away from us. But if you just look at 2022, you know, this isn't kind of popular to say in progressive spaces, but like if you just look at the numbers, with exception of young voters, like the core Democratic groups didn't turn out as high as Republican groups. Young voters turned out higher than they tended to, so that helped Democrats in certain places. But Republican base turnout was higher than Democratic base turnout in 2022. The reason why Republicans did worse was because people that identified as...
It's a midterm.
Like, you know, as maybe 8% of people that identified as Republicans nationwide, in different districts, voted for the Democrat because they're like, this party is so crazy. That's why the Democrats won, did better than expected and held the Senate. And so I think it's an important group that frankly, the Joe Biden Democratic Party is talking to now more than the Republican Party is talking to. We'll see if the Republicans learn their lesson for 2022. I don't see any evidence that they have. But right now, like the reality is we're just my people, like the Romney, Clinton, Biden people, like we're just homeless and we're just going to be. And many of us are, for all practical purposes, Democrats until the Republicans get their shit together. And like you said, I don't see that on the horizon.
I've spoken to Mike Murphy about this, who is another Republican who came on to speak with me. But just kind of this idea of, would you kind of vote for Democrats? And Mike said no, but like I think it's going to be different here. But would you vote for Democrats to hasten the demise of the Republican Party as it stands now until up from the...
Oh my goodness, like a Republican accelerationist. I want to kill the Republicans Party. And so that's why I vote for Democrats, so they explode and then reform again, I guess. I don't know, in Minecraft. The centrist accelerationism. Kill
ashes will emerge a different Republican Party.
God love Mike Murphy. You know, there's nothing false about hope, and he's a sweet guy and a smart strategist and won a lot of campaigns. But he's just hoping for a party that's going to come back that's not ever going to come back. Yeah. And so I think that's why he answered the question the way he did, because he thinks, in good faith, this isn't a criticism, in good faith, he thinks it's worth it to fight for the party, pick the handful of good Republicans that are still out there, your Mitts, your Adam Kinzingers or whatever, and work with them. My view, I'm more aligned to your view, which is I think that that the Republican Party isn't going to actually reform itself until it feels like it's not viable. Look at what happened to the Democratic Party in the 90s with Clinton, right? Like, why did the Democrats move to the middle in the 90s? Well, because they just got their ass beat 3 straight times, in overwhelming blowout fashion. And so they're like, we have to move to the middle. Now, maybe some of the progressive listeners didn't like that move, okay? But like, that's what it was. It was a practical move. Right. If the Republicans are ever going to move back to
the country
sanity,
worse. Like, I know why they do it. It just usually makes the country worse. Like, the country just creeping to the right usually means it's becoming worse. So,
they're going to need to lose. And so I do think that that for now, I think that I'm essentially in an uneasy coalition, mostly with Democrats, and it might be different on a case by case basis.
Well, the irony of that is that Republicans had the opportunity to do that. I mean, they were repudiated at the ballot box, and so they should have taken that as an opportunity to retool and figure out like what didn't work and change those things moving forward. But by virtue of kind of like burying their heads in the sand and doing this political theater where they pretended that they didn't lose an election that they very clearly lost, it kind of took that opportunity away from them to retool and present themselves better to their own voters so that they could win the next time. And then the next time they lost again. And so they kind of, they did it to themselves, right?
Yeah. Look, none of them listen to me anymore. My old friends who stuck around with the party. But I was screaming this from the rooftops. Had they convicted him during the second impeachment, instead of Mitch McConnell going out there and giving the speech about how his principles, but then voting to acquit, had they convicted him, he would have been barred from running in 2024. Now, that would have pissed off some MAGA people. And so 2022 probably still wouldn't have been great for Republicans because on the other side, they would have lost MAGA voters, not voters in the middle.
But probably less than the amount of Republicans who defected to the Democrats.
Yeah, exactly.
This seems like a delusional analysis, if I'm going to be honest. How many Republicans defected to the Democrats? Didn't he just say that the amount of like normie Republicans is like almost is incredibly small and like almost non-existent, but they do still exist. There's still some out there. How do you get the idea of I'm gonna be honest with you. If Mitch and crew voted to convict Donald Trump back in like 2019, like 2018, 2019 or whatever, they would have tried to kill him. I'm gonna be 100% real with you, and I'm gonna be serious. They would have tried to kill him, and they might have been successful. How are you going to sit? Both of them agree that they were trying to overturn the United States of America, the like Constitution. They would have killed him. They would have hung him. They would have lynched him. Okay, they would have lynched all of them. You won't listen. I'm going to be honest with you. Fox News, Newsmax, conservative talking heads, all of these people would be calling for actually them to be killed. They were already listen. Mike Pence didn't even do anything. He just didn't help Trump. And he had to couch surf after the 2020 election because people were looking to kill him and his wife for not helping Donald Trump more. He was literally homeless, bouncing around from house to house because people tried to kill him. No, dude, of course they didn't vote to convict him. And of course it didn't hurt them anywhere near as much as it could have. And it's okay because they're still going to get money at the end of the day. They're fine with the Democrats being in office because the Democrats being in office, like the Democrats being like normal and in office and everything, it means that they get to go back to their role of being the opposition party, meaning that they're able to get money criticizing every move the Democrats make while not having any possible recourse for the problems that they are angry about. And they just play politics on freaking easy mode, because all they do is sit there and complain and soak up money while complaining about making statements about how the Democrats are so bad and how they would do better, while not actually having any ideas about what to do better, because they don't have any ideas. There's a reason why they were sitting on their hands for 10 years after Obamacare got passed, saying that they were going to repeal and replace, but they just tried to repeal it with no replacement because they don't know how to make the country better, because they don't care about making the country better. They never have. They never will. They never had a plan. Donald Trump ran on having a plan. The Republicans ran on having a plan. There was no plan. The Obamacare was the Republican plan. And so you're going to tell me that they had another more Republican plan than the Republican plan that they already had? It was Mitt Romney's plan. What else could they possibly do? What are you talking about? So of course they weren't going to do anything. They never were meant to run the country. They don't care. They're the opposition party that just complains about everything. Rebranding was the plan. Yeah, the Affordable Care Act literally was the Republican plan. And it was put in office. They had nothing else to run on because the Democrat did what they said that they were going to do. Well, the Democrats did what Republicans said that they were going to do. It's clownery. It's buffoonery. So yeah, no, silliness, ridiculous. They're perfectly happy with the situation that they have right now. A lot of Republican talking heads and conservative voters may not be happy, but I'm telling you, people like Mitch McConnell and crew are perfectly fine. They're not like too far. Their party isn't technically doing too bad. They didn't get too much money. They got abortion overturned. And yeah, it's going to like suck for a while, but a lot of these people are planning to be in politics for the rest of their freaking lives. So they'll just like sit on their hands, scoop up money that they get from like super PACs and shit, and then wait until this all blows over and Donald Trump dies or goes to jail or something, while they don't do anything about it, and then just continue on doing what they're doing so far. There's like nothing that I don't think there's any reason for them to actually want to do anything different than what they're doing at the moment. The funniest thing is that McConnell, who was the most competent fascist in the room, his crowning achievement of stealing the Supreme Court is backfire. Yeah, like the crowning achievement of his tenure as not only Senate Majority Leader, but as like a senator, period, was doing something that has never been done in the history of the United States, which is stealing the Supreme Court from Democrats by withholding Supreme Court votes, which is the most... It should have told these normie Republicans that these apparent normie Republicans, like, that these people that you're voting for are not people that when push comes to shove are going to care about the American experiment. They never have, dude. It's ridiculous to think otherwise. You're a clown, honestly. Hong Kong, red nose, rainbow afro, big floppy shoes hopping out of the minicar clown. All of them going to the polls to vote. Trump did some damage on the Supreme Court. Generational damage on the Supreme Court, and I hope it continues with generational damage onto their party. Honestly, I'm glad that election after election they keep getting clapped, but yeah, it needs to go further. They need to lose all their jobs. They need to lose their livelihoods, all of them, every single last one of them, and only then will there be real justice. And some of them need to be put in jail. Only then will there be any semblance of actual justice. Only then. Come here. Oh. Hi. Oh, sorry. I didn't see you there. If you're enjoying the content, hit the subscribe button. If you don't, it'll make Boo very sad. I know a bunch of you who are watching are not subscribed. Join the frenzy. You won't regret it. Thank you, Boo.